Hello, Internet. I'm Matt.
And I'm Master Punter.
And this is the Parallax Scrolling Podcast, where we give you our perspective on video games and the news that affects them. Now, I gotta ask before I go any further, are you gonna try to steal the outro from me again this week?
I will neither confirm nor deny.
So yes, okay, I know how that works. I've known him long enough. I know how that plays out.
Listen, you liked it, don't lie.
Sure. How was your week? Or a couple weeks, I guess. It's been a little bit.
It's tough to say exactly, but
Yeah.
I did go to a event that my company held. Got to meet a lot of people that worked in my company. It was a good time overall.
Yeah.
I got terrible sleep while I was there.
Yeah.
But needless to say, while I was there, I didn't really get to play really anything. I was in Florida. My normal state of residence is Illinois, so yeah, not a whole lot that I could do while I was down there.
Yeah, he was completely miserable in the above 70-degree weather. Oh, just so sad.
You might be interested to know that there was some colder weather down there than you would think.
Ooh, 64.
No, like actually like 30s and 40s.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's fine, not a problem.
Yeah. Well, I did get to play some stuff myself, even though things were a little chaotic. More family emergencies, more health crises.
Yeah, we apologize for not being able to put out as many episodes as we want. The circumstances being as they are, it's been very tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think probably going forward, you're probably not going to see a lot more solo episodes from me for the time being, just because my job requires me to constantly take care of people, and things have been just difficult in that respect. So I have to step away. They have to be my first priority. So
yeah, I'll probably try to come out with some episodes just myself in the meantime, and we'll see what happens.
I have to teach you how to edit and post and all that.
I know a couple things. I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Okay, I'll still have to teach you a couple things. Anyhow, but one thing that my job makes me do a lot is I get put on what I call standby, because I'm literally waiting for the next thing, or I got to jump up and run and do something. So, when I talk about games I'm playing, I'm literally on standby. I'm doing something while I'm waiting to jump up and run somewhere. That being said, I've had time. Did you know? It's an interesting way to lead this in. Did you know that Monster Hunter now has a finite story?
It actually ends?
It actually ends.
Oh, so I'm guessing you actually got to the end of the story.
I got to the end of the story, yes. And spoilers, it's Rathalos.
Why wouldn't it be?
Right? So you have to fight Rathalos, and he's actually kind of tough on that little phone. But I beat him, and it says, congratulations. You can now go into New Game Plus. You're going to start the stories all over again, but now things are harder. So, for
Yay.
example, I think you might know this. In Chapter 1 of the story, it's fight these monsters. Like the little random monsters to just show up to give you something to do. And be hunt these monsters, gather these points, and then it'll go on to the next story bit. New Game Plus starts off with kill 4 Anjanath.
Nice.
Oh, and by the way, did we tell you that you unlocked 6-star? In 6-star, they don't give you 6 stars to look at. It's one big purple star above the monsters' heads now. So I've literally unlocked high rank, and they're nasty. They're nasty.
Fun.
Still haven't beat a 6-star. It's I went to go fight the 6-star, and it goes, congratulations. We hope that your weapon has an attack power of 700. My highest is 4. 400. So it's oh no, what am I going to do?
Power up.
Yeah, I'm going to... Except the way the game plays, sometimes you don't get the monsters you need to power up, so it takes a bit. Yeah, so there's a lot of patience involved in Monster Hunter now. But I also got to, because I don't think I talked about this last time. I have started, and as of last night, finished a game called While the Iron is Hot. And
that is about?
It is a game about being a blacksmith. And you run around to all these villages, and you make stuff.
Okay.
And there's no fighting, but you're making weapons and armor and, although it's not that much, not really necessary. But there's a bunch of side quests, and it kind of leads me to a happy tangent. I don't know if you call it that. I love it when games that give you quests give you a quest for the main story called like the end is near or the final stretch or whatever, because then I know I'm getting near the end of the game. I appreciate that, because that's what happened. I got a quest called the final stretch. I'm like, oh, well, I got a little bit of time before I call it for the night, so I'm just gonna push through and try to get this done. And it was good. It was good. I had fun with it. You would be bored.
I don't know much about the game, but if you think so, then yeah, probably.
Well, considering there's no fighting, there's hardly any jumping and or platforming, and it really is playing a bunch of mini games to make the right items for the right people.
Oh, so wait, yeah. I played Overcooked. I mean, there's no fighting and stuff like that.
Different. Like this is literally like playing a mini game to hammer out the metal into the proper shape, and then taking it to the grindstone to sharpen it, and then assembling the item all together.
Gotcha.
So I don't think you would like it.
I have played some games though after coming back and shortly before leaving. Mm-hmm. I've been playing Trails into Reverie. I'm going to finish up the Crossbell arc and the Cold Steel arc. So far, so good. I found out who C is. They put him behind a mask. And let me tell you this much. I didn't really have a whole lot of interest in who this person was until he took off the mask, and it was like, oh, so that's you? Okay. So that's gotten a lot more interesting. That's good. I have started playing God of War. I do plan to finish it.
I think you just made one of our viewers very excited.
I will be finishing it. I promise you I'll finish it.
Okay.
I also picked up an Evercade, and what an Evercade is...
I was actually going to save that. I wanted to talk about that. That's pretty freaking awesome, man. Go ahead, talk about that Evercade.
Yeah, so the Evercade is a console. It's been out for a little while. I believe it came out originally in 2018, 2019, somewhere in there as a handheld. And you buy, basically, it's an emulation system, but you buy all the games on cartridges. So it's a way to build a physical library of old games. But more importantly, they're all licensed games. So all those developers actually see a commission, I guess, if you want, for lack of a better word right now.
They get a cut of the profits, yeah.
Yes. So it's a way that you can still support those developers. And while I think piracy is ultimately the way that a lot of games are going to be preserved, and the only way you're really going to be able to play them, I think if you are someone like me who likes to have games physically and you still want to support those developers to the extent you can, I think this is an excellent thing to do. And so I picked up the Evercade VS, which is the home console version of it, and I have 4 cartridges. It came with 2. I picked up a couple more.
I got to play Burger Time. It was fun.
I have 2 versions of Burger Time, the Nintendo one and the arcade one.
Oh, that's right, you do, yeah.
Yeah. I'm torn as to which one I like better right now, but you can also plug in other controllers like 8-bit Do controllers into it and use them, among other things. And so I think it's really cool. It's a nice little system. I've decided I'm going to go for a complete collection on it because it's accessible, because I know getting a complete collection of some of these old school games is just prohibitively expensive. And it's
probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's going to be. They're still coming out with games for it, and obviously not all the games I'm going to like, but
Well,
I
and I
think
like
it's
what
worth it.
yeah, and I like what you told me because the Evercade has a spot that you can put in 2 cartridges at once,
That's the
and if the
VS system.
yeah, and if the cartridges actually like can sync up with each other, there's extra games.
There's extra games, there's unlockable games, and then they have a game of the month,
Oh,
and it's a downloaded one, and you can play
so
that too.
so you do need an interconnection for at least part of the Evercade.
If you want like the game of the month, sure, but you don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to. But there are
Oh, okay.
updates you might want for the system. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I can't
Okay.
complain.
Cool.
I plan on getting more carts, as I've said, and some of the games are nice to revisit. Some of the games are also one of those, wow, I can't, but this game is really bad. And but some games are pleasantly good, and I think it's worth it.
Awesome, awesome. It's kind of funny because if you look at the actual boxes, it remind me of the old Genesis cartridges,
Yes.
like those cases. It reminds me of those a lot. But that's very cool.
Yeah, it's very good. It's nice. I mean, it fills up a shelf rather nicely right now. But as part of the
Ooh.
complete collection, I will be getting the original Evercade. In fact, I've already ordered that.
And I like what is it? The indies. There's
Yeah.
actually cartridges for indie games too.
Yep. Indie Heroes 1 and 2. I've ordered Indie Heroes 1. That should be coming. And
I'm actually on the website. Indie Heroes 3 comes out on leap day.
oh, nice. Well, I'll have to
Yep.
make sure to get. Well, I'm going to get a complete collection, so I'll be getting
Right.
that too.
Also, what's the Commodore 64 collection number 3 comes out same day.
Nice. And keep in mind, these cartridges are only like $20. I mean, they're not very expensive. You can
these
get,
look-
in some
oh, man,
cases,
these look
dozens
cool.
of games.
Duke Nukem's already out.
Yeah, Duke Nukem.
Sorry, I got that one caught me like Duke Nukem.
Yep.
But yeah. Ooh,
They actually have a
Sunsoft.
Duke Nukem console too. I may not do all the consoles, but all the games themselves, I'm going to do a complete collection on.
Right. Dude, I'm looking at some of these and this is fantastic. Actually, Alwa's Awakening and Cathedral,
Yep.
there are more recent indie games have their own cartridge.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, this is an amazing list.
Yep. So a lot of the
Skyrim,
games,
oh
definitely like
gosh, yeah.
Cathedral, if you want to own it physically, there's the Evercade, and then there's nothing. So
Yeah. No, so if you really want a physical copy, it's a great way to do it.
Yep.
So that's awesome. I wonder what there's one here, I gotta look it up real quick, called the Renovation Collection. Renovation Collection 1 brings 12 classic and rare 16-bit games to the Evercade, including Valis, Exile, Arcus Odyssey, Gyarez, Soldiace, and more. Oh my goodness. Like, you know what the weird part is? A lot of these games I've played. Like, I'm looking at them as I'm running through this, I'm like, I've played these. Tracia? Oh, dude, this is wild. Oh, dude, that's so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I kind of want to get an Evercade myself now. I mean,
Well, I mean, I like I said, I think it's great. So,
and it's okay, and that's really a nice thing for $100
yes,
because
And
you're
you
getting
get
and
the-
you, yeah,
you can get the Evercade EXP nowadays, which is the latest version of the handheld, and it's got some improvements in it. It even has a Tate mode, which, if you're not familiar with what Tate mode is, it basically takes your screen and puts it on its side. So a lot of your old school shoot 'em ups that use a longer screen, it's really good
Nice.
for. It's like taking your 16:9. It was like an old school arcades. It was like the 16:9 TVs that are so prevalent now, just turned on its side, and that was how they played.
This is also something important to keep in mind. The EXP version, the EXP Evercade, comes with 18 built-in games from Capcom.
From Capcom, yeah. Unfortunately, they couldn't negotiate a cartridge for that.
Oh man, that's real sad because like I'm seeing Final Fight, Ghouls and Ghosts, R-Type, Street Fighter, Mega Man X, Breath of Fire, Final Fight, Captain Commando. Oh man, I'm sad. I'm really sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's a little more. That one's 150. But
yeah, well, you might be able to get it for cheaper. But either way,
maybe.
I mean,
I'm on their website. Their website. They're saying this.
Yeah.
But still, if you guys are really interested in game preservation like we are, and you're interested in all the old school video games and you want to play them,
and
definitely
still support the developers.
And still support the developers. Consider yourselves getting an Evercade. Hashtag not ad, but hashtag would love some cash. Oh. Anyhow, I don't think we've had any comments to talk about lately. So yeah. But we just want to inform you. You guys are more than welcome to give us comments, feedback, whatever, in the comments of the video. Let us know what's going on. If you guys got questions about video games, or if you guys have news stories or things that you're interested about that we haven't touched on, let us know. We'll give you our feedback on it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think we get to some news. There's been a lot that's happened since we were on, so
a little bit, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna do mine first, just to get it out of the way, and then we are behind the wheel, or I don't know if behind the wheel. We are behind the times. There we go.
Yeah.
So we do want to talk about the Game Awards. So that we're at the beginning of the month, and since we're like right before Christmas, hey.
Yeah.
Perfect timing, right? Oh, adulting is hard. Anyhow. First story comes to us from Game Informer. Do you know more information about this than I do from looking at the article?
No, I don't.
Okay. So last week, ransomware group, Resida, I want to say. If I'm saying it wrong, Resida, please don't hack me. I got nothing. Like, you know. Unless you're going to hack me to put money in my account, then I'll be happy. But anyways, this ransomware group revealed that it had hacked Insomniac Games. And they planned to put out all the information that they had if Sony didn't come up with 50 bitcoins, roughly $2 million American, within 7 days from when they stole it, or they were going to leak it all out. Sony was like, nah, we're good. And so they did it. They leaked the 1.3 million files, close to 1.67 terabytes of data. Terabytes, you know, for our older listeners, we know that's a lot. You know, that's more than the megabytes we were used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1.3 million files of that's just information about Spider-Man, future Insomniac titles, release schedules, but then they also handed out private employee information like tax and employment forms, internal messages from the studio, and more than that. Now, we haven't been able to find the information. I kind of don't want to find the information. I just don't want to be a part of it. But I do want to just give this little shout out to Game Informer, because in their article they clearly state that they're not going to disclose any of the information. They're not going to give it out. So good on you guys.
Yeah.
So what's your take on this whole mess?
It's just people doing. It probably clicked on a bad link in an email, and here we are. It's the phishing attempts and everything are getting more sophisticated. The way people are stealing from others are getting more sophisticated. It's all despicable. And, at the end of the day, it's the world we live in. And you just got to be very careful about what you do and how you do it. That's really what it comes down to.
Unfortunately, I don't think this was tied to a bad link. I think this is something they legitimately hacked into the server. Like they did their hacker tricks to get into the server to get the information.
Well, it could be that, but then
I think that's what it is, because Cyber Daily? Cyber Daily reached out to the ransomware group, and the ransomware group told them that no, we specifically targeted Insomniac. So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that people like them should be if you pay the ransom, you only incentivize them to continue doing things to other people.
Right, and I think the other thing to think about is you really got to think about this from the standpoint of the video game companies too. If you say you stole all my data on a game I had yet to release, and you got ransom, demand money from me to get it, what's to say that I'm just never going to release that game now? So what these people are doing is they're potentially killing future titles.
Well, because they're not thinking about that. They're just thinking about themselves.
Right, exactly. They're thinking about themselves and they're thinking about their pockets.
Yeah.
But, newsflash, a lot of people are struggling with their pockets. You don't need to be doing this to these people. There's a lot of innocent people that got involved in this, especially, like I said, they mentioned the personal employee information, like employment forms, tax forms. That information should not be public.
No.
And so these are innocent people that got involved. And these people in this ransomware group willingly did this. That's just, like you said, it's despicable. Especially around this time of year, you should know better.
Yep.
Shame on you.
Okay. Speaking of money, I guess.
Better news, other news, yeah. Please. I got to get away from it.
If you haven't bought an Xbox Series X yet, now is a good time to do so. This is on Kotaku, but it's been around a little bit. You can get an Xbox Series X for as little as $339.
How much is it normally again?
$500.
It is $500. Okay, I can't remember if it was 4 or 5.
It's an incredible deal.
Yeah.
This is on Best Buy, and you have to sign up for their service. But if you go on there, you can get an Xbox for as little as $340, which is just an incredible price. I think this price has a lot to do with the fact that Microsoft isn't selling enough Xboxes right now. They're struggling against Sony this generation as well, and I think their strategy kind of plays into this a lot, in my opinion. Think about this: if you have a PC, you can play almost everything that's coming out on Xbox. So, it comes down to why would a PC player buy an Xbox? Just, if they don't plan on ever playing in their living room, or they may even have a separate computer. It depends on what you're talking about, but the incentive is not very strong to pick up an Xbox if you already own a PC. It's different if you own a PlayStation, because you may still want to get those exclusives, and they're exclusive for a while before they come out on Steam. Who knows if all of them are even going to come out on Steam.
True.
So there's more incentive to buy a PlayStation because of that.
Yeah. I mean, but there's also just if this is a great Christmas deal, if you're trying to get somebody something for Christmas and your kids have been wanting a Series X, or that gamer in your life wants a Series X and they don't have the ability to get it themselves, get on board. Get them an Xbox. It's
an excellent Game Pass machine at this price. I mean, it's a much better deal than the Series S at that price. I mean,
it's only $40 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a way more powerful console. You get twice the storage. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, definitely look into that.
Also, interestingly enough, this is more to do with Google and and their ecosystem. It was more so than anything else. And I know we're transitioning from the Microsoft story, but Microsoft and Sony, they have, and Nintendo, they all have their own eShops basically, where you go and like if you buy an Xbox, you have to buy games from your Xbox on Microsoft Store. It's part of the whole model, right? At the end of the day, a console is supposed to be a cheap box for them to get it into your room and then sell you games on it. So they lock you into their ecosystem and then sell you games. With the phone, it's much the same thing right now, where you buy your Apple phone or your Android phone, and you have to buy something off the Play Store or the App Store for Apple, and those stores are all charging on the order of 30% upwards to 30% of the cost to the developer. And we've talked about this before, but what's really important right now is that Epic won their lawsuit against Google. So it's this was done by a jury. Now you might ask yourself, well, wasn't there a lawsuit against Apple that Epic lost? And the answer is yes. That was decided by a judge, and that's currently at the Supreme Court. So that could turn out differently. At the end of the day, this isn't a whole lot different than, my opinion, than like if Microsoft was to lock everybody to Internet Explorer again if you got Windows. People would be in an uproar in an instant because they would want to be able to go and get their own browser. Now it's not exactly a perfect analogy, but it's the same principle applies. You have to buy something from them. I think this has really big implications, assuming this stands, for the phone platforms to be a lot more like PCs, where you could go and do other things and buy things from anywhere and pay for them.
Well, and it's if this lands, if this sticks, it's the beginning of change.
Yes. And absolutely. You know what? At the end of the day, this is a big deal for Google and Apple.
This is a big deal for everybody.
It is a big deal for everybody. But think about this. I mean, if you want to make money, is the money in the software, or is the money in the platform that hosts all the software? What is Reddit without its users? What is Steam without its developers? It's nothing. The people putting stuff on the platform is what brings value. And
well, here's the thing about that though. If Steam were to actually, I don't know, let their owners make more games, or I should say if their owners would just make more games and then put them out, like if we happen to see a Portal 3, Half-Life 3, Left 4 Dead, 4 or 3 at this point?
3.
Yeah.
They can't count the 3.
Yeah, if they could get past it to the 3s, maybe they wouldn't have to rely on other developers. Maybe they would just be like, yeah, we just sold like a bajillion copies of Portal 3. And it would actually be a bajillion because there would be people who buy multiple copies just because.
But that my whole point is they don't need to do that. They make way more money off of the platform itself. Google and Apple and Steam and Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, they make way more money off the platform itself. I'm going to take 30% of every Capcom sale, every Square Enix sale, every EA sale, every Bethesda sale. I get 30% of that. What do they get at the end of the day after all their costs are paid for and incurred? They may see 30%. The platform makes as much money sometimes off these games as the developers themselves make. And all they're doing is hosting a place where people can go and buy games and things like that. I think this is huge. And it would be a way for developers to actually keep more of the money, and maybe games would get cheaper because of it.
Right. Well, what I was just trying to say was, if this happened to Steam, then all Valve would have to do is actually put games out to keep their system afloat.
Well, yeah,
that's what I was getting to. So yeah, no, this is a good step forward.
Steam has some very big zealots. Steam has made a lot of zealots. I think they'll be fine regardless.
Well, right.
But anyway.
I was just saying, like, if this goes through and they can't do that 30% cut, and they're like, well, fine, we're just not going to put anybody else up. Well, then that just means Valve's going to actually have to put games out again.
Yeah, but I guess
there's a scary thought.
At the end of the day, where I stand on this is, developers should be able to make their money and not have to give a cut to Google or Apple in this case, if they don't want to. I mean, think about what it would be. It would be the same thing as at Microsoft on Windows, forcing everybody to buy everything through the Windows Store. That would not fly at all. So,
I mean, I get that, and I get what you're saying, but I think there is something to be said. If these stores were charging, like, okay, well, you want to advertise on our store, cool. We would like 5%, 10%. The 30% is where things are ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. They should be an option, but they shouldn't be the only option. That's the whole point.
Well, right, but I'm saying, like, at the same time, the people who are posting the games out, who are putting the products out for them to be sold, you know, they do get a cut of that. I mean, that's how stores work.
Sure.
You know,
I'm not saying that they should get no cut. I'm just saying that they should be able to sell their games and collect money in ways that are not through the store only. It's a monopoly. It's a monopoly, really. At the end of the day, if you buy into their platform, you're stuck with them and buying things through their store. It's a monopoly. I don't know what else to say.
Maybe, but either way, change is coming. I certainly hope this sticks, because it's a much needed breath of fresh air.
Speaking of change, E3 has been canceled.
Yeah, again, but this time forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
I never got to go to an E3. I always wanted to go to an E3. I never got to go to one. I guess I'll never be able to go to one. But at the end of the day, I think it was good for the industry at the time it was there. It was a wave to get retailers and other industry people together with the developers to plan their orders and things like that. It started as an industry trade show, and the public wasn't able to go in. Eventually, they opened it up to the public.
And that's when things went bad.
Well, they had to. I mean, but as the internet has become more prominent and things like that, you know, Nintendo started doing their Nintendo Directs instead of going to E3.
Yeah, but if you remember when they first canceled E3, like the first time they said, yeah, we're not doing this anymore, they stated it was because of the massive flow of public attendees versus just merchants and traders. So they're like, this is too much of a show anymore. It's not an actual, like, business event. So they said, well, we're just going to cancel it. And then they came back and people were excited again, but it's like a little too little too late, because again, we are in that society now where everything's online.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about what games are going to come out? You're going to watch the trailer online. You're good.
Yeah, and I think that's a real shame. I still think there's some value to people getting together and getting excited and
absolutely
talking about your game.
There's, I mean, it's the same argument you could use in terms of a LAN party versus online multiplayer.
Sure.
Like, there's some benefits to both, but, you know, there's always a trade-off.
But, I mean, there are going to be some things. I mean, I think there's PAX, and there's a couple other ones that could...
Oh, yeah, I don't think PAX is going away anytime soon.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And maybe one day we'll go to one of those.
Maybe it would be nice.
And we'll be there with our segways, going up and down the aisles.
Yes.
Promoting ourselves.
and talking about all the newest games and everything.
Yep.
So
speaking of newest games, it's that time.
Yeah.
We need to talk about the Game Awards.
Oh man. You mean the Baldur's Gate 3 awards?
Why don't you talk about the winners before we actually talk about the games?
I'll talk about the ones that kind of mean something to me.
And me, you gotta talk about mine too.
I thought of the Game of the Year nominees. I thought Baldur's Gate 3 was deserving. I haven't been able to play it yet. I'm looking forward to it, but everything I've read, everything I've seen looks incredible. And when it comes out physically next month, I will be picking it up. Alan Wake 2 got a ton of awards. I have yet to even play an Alan Wake game, but
you know what? You're missing out.
I guess I am. I
think you will like Alan Wake.
Eventually.
Right.
The best music score being Final Fantasy, not surprising at all.
Not surprising, but at the same time, a little shocking that Hi-Fi Rush didn't win.
Yeah.
You know, it should have won at least something. And the fact
it did win. It won best audio design.
I know, but
in-game audio and sound
audio design versus music. I mean, I don't know how that works, but
maybe that includes sound effects,
the actual music.
things.
Yeah,
I mean, you're interacting with the music basically with Hi-Fi Rush, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. No, you actually need it in order to, like, you had to be on beat with your attacks and.
You know, of course, we have to give a shout out because of your Game of the Year, probably Sea of Stars won.
Yeah, buddy.
And
it's so deserving. Again, if you have not played Sea of Stars, play Sea of Stars.
Armored Core 6 winning best action game was really cool. Street Fighter 6 winning best fighting game was good. I agree with that one. The rest of these are kind of
Armored Core winning best action game.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I got to reemphasize that because, let's not just gloss that over. Like, oh yeah, they won. No, Armored Core won. That's
and the
fantastic.
most anticipated game, which I don't even know if this should really be a category, but Final Fantasy Rebirth being one of the most anticipated games. Totally get it. I'm looking forward to it.
I was gonna say, that's kind of an obvious one for me, though.
But I'll set aside my personal bias for a moment, but all of these games are, deserving of being the most anticipated. Hades,
absolutely,
2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously in Baldur's Gate 1, the player's voice. The when you get to choose, they won that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Now here's one that I found really, really strange that I can't wrap my head around why they would give this award to somebody like this. But the content creator of the year being Iron Mouse, a VTuber. I mean, okay, maybe I'm hating on VTubers too much.
I think you are, because VTubers are kind of the new wave of streamers.
Yeah,
it's the newest trend, and it's going to be the most popular thing right now.
I can't wait.
And I actually heard from somebody who attended the Game Awards. They said that they kept hearing all these business people around them being like, "Who the heck's that? What's a VTuber? What's this? What's that?" It's like, yeah, you guys are kind of outdating yourselves there. But yeah, VTubers are becoming the thing now.
Yeah, I just can't bring myself. I tried watching one, and I was just like, nope, I can't do it.
I think the thing comes down to who is the person behind the character, and how are they behaving. That's what matters,
Yeah,
because there's a guy I know who he's a streamer. He's been a content creator for a long time, and he just recently went to VTubing, and nothing changed in his persona. Nothing's changed as who he is. So he's still entertaining. He now just has this wizard character that shows up on his screen. So like it gives him an excuse to get up and walk away from the camera, and there's still something on screen. You know, it's that kind of deal.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it.
So, speaking of taking my word for it, some of these games coming on this list are amazing.
You talk about the Game Awards. Is it even the Game Awards? I mean, the Game Awards were kind of like an afterthought. It was the game trailers.
Well, I was gonna say, and that was the same thing about the guy who went and was talking on his podcast about it. He said that they should call it the game reveal.
Yeah,
not the Game Awards, because that's all it was. It was game reveals.
Yeah, it was just trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer. Yeah.
I mean,
say?
There's a lot that I haven't seen because there's still so many trailers for me to try and catch up on because I didn't get to sit and watch the whole thing.
I did. I got to see most of it at least.
But
Hellblade 2 looks awesome. Really looking forward to that.
So I got this list here from this particular blog. I don't know if I'm gonna link it just because you never know with blogs sometimes. But they talked about Windblown, which is the next game from the people who made Dead Cells.
Yeah.
I saw that Pony Island 2 was announced. Did you ever see anything about Pony Island?
I never played it.
It's one of those games that messes with your head.
Yeah.
So now it's getting a sequel.
I think I'll pass.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, though. The trailer that got me genuinely excited. Genuinely excited.
I was gonna say that for last.
Sega trailer. I was, oh my gosh! At first I'm like, are they announcing a Sega Dreamcast Mini? I was like, oh, okay, I could do a mini. Wait, what? And they announced those games. The
thing that annoyed me about it all. The thing that annoyed me about that all, though, is that people were like, "Oh, does this mean there's going to be another Virtual Fighter?"
It's possible. It said and more. It said and more.
It said and more, but people were looking at the Streets of Rage content and saying that was Virtual Fighter. How dare you?
Oh,
I'm calling you out, Internet. How dare you?
But Golden Axe, Crazy Taxi, Shinobi, Streets of Rage, Jet Set Radio.
Not a single one of those games looked terrible. Not a single one.
And
they all looked amazing.
Injected straight into my veins as a Sega fanboy.
Absolutely. But yeah, there's, again, just a ton of good games. Again, Hellblade 2, that looks amazing. Blade looked amazing. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, if you're into Dragon Ball or you're just into like really over the top fighting games, looked amazing.
Visions of Mana.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad they're making another Mana game.
Yeah, that looked really cool. One that didn't look cool because you really don't know what the heck it is OD.
Yeah, I was gonna say before you even said what it was, I'm like, he's talking about the Hideo Kojima game, isn't he?
You know what? I'll say this much. I'll go on record saying this much. Hideo Kojima is the most overrated developer I have ever seen, and so undeserving of all the praise he gets. Kill me in the comments. I bring it on.
I really enjoyed Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
One does not redeem him.
I'm just saying.
He's still super overrated. Anyway,
Jurassic Park Survival
could be cool.
I think you might even like that one because the whole premise, if you didn't know, is literally it takes place after the first movie. You're on the island by yourself, and you're trying to outlive the dinosaurs that have now taken over the park. That sounds awesome.
I mean, what might help you is being the first Berserker.
The first Berserker looks so good, yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Of course, Final Fantasy Rebirth looks good.
Black Myth Wukong looks great.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Way too late.
Yeah, pretty
much. Way too late to come out. I think that they missed that bus. That game is not going to do well. Especially because it's got a battle pass.
And then, of course, I wish they'd shown more, but Monster Hunter.
Yes, I was gonna say that's kind of the one I wanted to end on is Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, I appreciate the fact that they brought back the concept of the Palamute, but it's like a bird now.
It's Yeah, it's like a dinosaur.
I was gonna say it's like an Archaeopteryx, but yeah, there were a lot of great games. There were a lot of great games that were shown, and interesting. Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be very interesting because we don't know if it's connected, probably not, to Monster Hunter World, but we know it's not connected to Rise. You can tell just by the way it behaves. But at the same time, it's the next step, and it's going to be completely open world. So we'll have to see how you like it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but I think that was an inevitable step, I think.
Yeah, the most disappointing thing about this is the fact that it comes out in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely.
So mad.
But here's the one thing I thought about too, and I can link this back to when I was talking about Monster Hunter Now. Monster Hunter Now proved that Capcom could and maybe should have an option for displaying health bars for monsters.
That's right. I played a lot of that game and it never even dawned on me.
There's health bars for the monsters, and you still you're still immersed in what you're doing. It doesn't diminish the game at all. They could easily put in a health bar. With all the things they've been doing progressively in Monster Hunter to make it easier and more welcoming for players, adding a health bar would be a big thing. And with the recent trend of accessibility options in games, they could do that. They could make it an accessibility option. So you can have it on or not. It's up to you.
I'm torn on that.
They could even make it an armor skill.
Okay, maybe I'm okay with something like that.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be great armor, but if it allows you to see the health bar, maybe it helps you. Helps you to play the game.
Well, that is all I got.
And I think that's all I got. I think we're good. There's plenty more games that came from the Game Awards. If we didn't talk about one you were interested in, tell us in the comments. And maybe we'll talk about it a little more next time.
Do you own an Evercade?
Yeah, do you own an Evercade? If you're not, go buy one. And if you do, tell us. So that we can go to Evercade and be like, look, we sold you some copies. Give us cash.
Oh, gosh.
I am going to make money off this thing, man. I'm going to find a way. Bill's got to get paid, son. All right. That's enough for us. That's enough nonsense. You know what? Since you enjoy stealing my outro so much, why don't you lead us out then?
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, no. You know how to do it.
No, I don't. Go for it.
Oh, my goodness. You got to pay more attention. Steal my last bit, but you can't steal the rest of it? No? Really? Huh? Okay. We'll get out of here. Before I say goodbye, though, thank you guys so much for listening this entire year. And we look forward to talking to you guys in the new year. Probably won't be another episode next week just because timing and Christmas and family meetings and all that. But if we can get one out, we will. But in the meantime, have yourselves a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you're celebrating. Have a great time with your family and friends, and have a great time with your games, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. So until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care.
Later. See, it wasn't that hard. You just had to let me say later. That's all you had to do. You couldn't just steal my bit. You could have just let me do it. Goodness.
I should have done it on purpose this time.